Hey, good morning, everyone. May the good Lord bless you. Hope you have yourself a wonderful day. It happens to people every year. It's happening right now. Somebody is out on the trail. They've decided they've just parked their vehicle just like I did about a mile from here. And they'll go down a known trail. They didn't bring anything with them. They left their survival pack because they thought, well, I just ain't gonna need that kind of stuff today. I'm just gonna walk down the trail. I'm gonna take a look at something, whether I'm scouting around for deer or whatever else, and they get lost. And believe it or not, a couple of years ago, the very same thing happened to me. I went down a trail in this mountain right here, on a road sort of like this one right here that I see that the Forest Service has cleaned up. I decided I was going to follow a stream up to where the source was. Well, when I got up there, I thought to myself, I had it in my mind that I could just turn a hard right, go over top of the mountain and come out where the truck was. That wasn't the case. I was about 3 miles, you guys, lost on that journey right there. Luckily, I did have my cell phone on me, and I could get the Google Earth maps. So with those Google Earth maps, I could find my way back. In this scenario, that's not what's going to happen. In this scenario, I'm going to show you how to survive what I call pocket dump survival and what's in the forest. Because let's just put it this way. You can get off of the trail, even if you're an experienced hunter, hiker, outdoorsman. You can get off the trail and get lost and not be able to find your way back to your vehicle before dark. So what we're going to do today is just explore a couple of ways. Look at it, see what you got in your pocket, whether it's your everyday carry. You got your car key in there, of course. I got my keys. This is what I got in my pockets, you all. I do have my sidearm. I do have a hunting knife on my side. But the rest of the survival, the food, all that kind of stuff, the water and everything else is not in my possession. So if I get lost more than 24 hours, I'm just in a dire situation. It could rain, or it could have snowed, or whatever. But I'm just going to turn around and go straight down through the woods here and show you what I'm talking about. Of course, one of the things that causes people to get lost and stuff like this is they don't stay on known trails. They get off the trail like I always do, because when you get off the trail, you're going to see a whole lot more of the area, and sometimes some really, really, beautiful scenery, animals and things like that. And you don't pay attention to the direction you're going. You're just out walking around. Like I say, I've met people that this has happened to, and they were lost for more than 2 days. And you know how close they was to their vehicle? 1/2 mile. They just simply could not figure out how to get back to that vehicle. But you can see I'm not on a trail. Now, if I get turned around, how do I know what direction I was? Well, right now I'm going downhill, so I know that if I go back uphill, that I'm eventually going to hit that road that I was on. That's pretty basic survival instincts. But what really gets people, once they've been lost for more than, let's say, 2 hours, and they can't find their way back to that vehicle, they're highly anxious, and they get in panic mode. So what you don't want to do is get in panic mode. The best thing for you to do is sit down, think about it for a while, pray about it, which is exactly what I would do, and say, Lord, help me out of this situation. And he will do it, and he will show you how to get out of it. But what we're going to explore here, you all, and this is some really, really rugged territory right here. And you know, I haven't been in here, so I don't know where I'm going. I don't. So I'm going to head in a what I'm going to say a southeasterly direction. I don't have no compass to tell me that. But what I'm looking for now is somewhere to build a fire, because fire in this situation, if you're really, really lost, well, Mike, you got to have water. Yeah, you do. But one of the things that you want to do is start your fire if you possibly can, so that you'll have a way to signal the drone. They may fly around to try to find you now, or, you know, signal the helicopters or planes that are going to try to find you. So let's see, with what I've got in my pocket, can I start a fire? The only way that you can get your wood is you're just going to have to break it by hand. Now, I have a hunting knife, okay? This is actually a piece of pine, you all. Wet. So I have to process it. Down to shavings. Hopefully, by the time I'm ready again, some of this water will evaporate. And we can catch us a spark. Look how rich that is in fat wood. So we're going to get us a whole bunch of this stuff, you all. So let me do that off camera. You all can't see what I'm doing right there anyway, I don't think. So you can imagine how hard this would be if it was raining, and it's supposed to rain today. And I think from the feel of the leaves and stuff that it did rain a little bit last night. Now, if that stuff was bone dry, you all, that would take a spark instantly. I mean, there wouldn't be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's hard to tell how long this tree right here has been dead, because all I could see was the root sticking up, and I just pulled it out of the ground. You can see it's soaking wet. And it's soaking wet on the inside too. But we're getting down. Now this is just reality, you guys. I ain't faking this. With what I've got in my pocket. All right, that should catch a spark right there, you all. So let me all right, you all, this right there is the critical stage. I mean, it's very critical. That stuff is wet. The only way that I could get those leaves going today was with some wet, fat wood. So that stuff really, really, really works. You just have to look for it in your area if you have any type of pine trees in your area. Folks, this is the year of the acorn in my neck of the woods. So you just watched a video the other day, or you can watch a video of how to cook and prepare these acorns. They can be roasted, pounded into powder, leached in water to get the tannins out of them, and then you can consume them, okay? Do not eat them without leaching them, okay? Because if you do, they're going to make you sick, and then you're not going to get out of the situation you're in. But right there in the Allegheny Mountains, right at this present time, if this is any sign of what the winter's going to be like the old timers used to say, the snow's going to be like 6 foot deep. But we have tons and tons of acorns. I see in this area, the deer are they're just going to have a smorgasbord of acorns. And there is a log over there that's turned over that a bear turned over. So you're out here in the woods, you're in competition with, other animals to try to find yourself some food. So acorns is one thing that you can eat. And like I said, you can watch one of my last videos to see how to prepare those things. But now the next question is this. Since we have our fire built over there, which guys, I've already put it out because I don't want that to accidentally get out in these woods. I just did that for the video to show how hard it is to rely on some of your pocket dump stuff to get the fire going. Let's see if we can find water. Now, the other day, and I'll show this in another video, I've showed this before, if you will find a good deer path that's heavily used, lots of times they will be going to and from water, okay? So that's what we're going to try to do next to see. And now I'm over 2 miles from the truck. I'm lost, okay, in this particular scenario. But I don't have a canteen. That's just some of the mistakes that people make. I don't need water. I don't need my pack. I don't need anything. I got stuff in my pockets, and I'm good to go. I'll find my way back, and, everything will be hunky-dory. So let's see what else, if we can find something else to eat and something to drink. So you all, one of the things that you got to remember is if you don't have water and you begin to search for water, you're probably going to get further and further away from where you parked your vehicle. Sometimes that can be the wrong move to make because you're going to be using up the water that you got stored in your body by perspiring. breathing. So if you've got to go miles and miles and miles to find a drink of water, you don't want to do that. You want to stay put and hope that you get found. Now here, right here in the middle of these woods, you all, I've actually found a deer highway. You probably can't tell it on this video, but you can see it on the ground. Going straight out through here in this direction right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow it for a little ways and see if they're going to a water source. Because if you look around me, all the way around, this is north, that's south. Now I can go to the bottom of this mountain and get water. I know that, and if I had to do that in a survival situation, I would do that. There's no question about it. I can go about a mile down in the valley, and there is a creek down there with holes in it that surely I can get a drink of water out of. But that's not what a person does when they're excited and they're really lost. They want so bad to get back to their vehicle that they end up getting further and further away from where they're going, trying to go to, because they don't know the way back to the truck anymore. They don't know north, south, east, and west anymore. Like I was saying there a minute ago, I forgot to say, the other day I was out hiking, looking for a place to set up a trail camera for a review. And I come up on this deer path, and I mean, it was literally like a cow path. So I start following it because I know for a fact that somewhere in that area, them deer are going to water up that high on the mountain. There's no question about it. Every animal has to have water to drink, of course. So I followed it and followed it. And I got out there and I saw what I call basket grass. So I knew that there had to be a damp spot out there. So I went out there, and sure enough, there was a damp spot. The water was not coming up out of the ground anymore. But as dry as it's been on this mountain, it was still damp enough for when a deer stood there for a minute, and there were deer tracks there, water had oozed up into them deer tracks. So I knew there was water there. I took a stick, stuck it into the ground about 2 foot, and it was really loose and muddy all the way down. So what I done, the next day I brought the camera, and I took a shovel with me, and I literally shoveled out a little well there so that that water that was in the ground could flow to the well. And sure enough, when I did that, water was flowing to that well. So that's just one of the reasons that I know that you can follow a deer path, and that deer path will end up at water in one. It doesn't make any difference which way you go. They come to and from water. I was reading there a couple of days ago that a deer can smell water up to a half a mile away. They can literally smell water. So that's just why I like to say, follow those deer paths, and you're going to go somewhere along that road there. You're going to go where there's some water. All right, you all, 3/4 of a mile. Ain't found that water yet. But the trail is getting really, really good and padded down. It come out on a little old ancient logging road, I guess is what this is. I'm going to go just a little bit further to see if there's any water in this section here before the battery on this Hero camera goes dead. So there you are, you all. Water that can save your life. It is bone dry in this mountain. But here is a stream coming out of the mountain. So I've went almost a mile, you guys, through the woods to find this, just to show you and prove to you that most of the time these deer paths are going to lead to water somewhere in either direction. because they're just like us. They got to have water to live. So with that, you all, I haven't seen one animal, one bird, one squirrel, one small game, nowhere in these mountains. So what are we going to eat? Well, today we can eat acorns, okay? There's plenty of them here to eat. Now that we found water, we can crush them acorns. Crush them up, put them in this running water, and let it leach the acid out of them so that you can eat them. That's just one of the things that you can do. And this is very shallow, but still yet. You just take your acorns, crush them up as good as you possibly can with a rock, put them in the water, and then after about, overnight, let it leach all the acid out of it. Then you can eat them raw if you have a problem like I did getting a fire started. Because without something to cook them in, how are you going to cook them anyway? So what you could do after you leach the acid out of them is you could pile them up on a stone and just bake them beside of the fire and eat them baked. That will also make them taste better and get rid of some more of the acids. But I haven't seen one animal to consume. So which way is it back to the vehicle? Well, you take a look here. I'll let you look all the way around here. We're really in the booger woods. There's another thing I'll tell you before the battery does go dead, you guys. If you see a place where you've seen water running while it was wet weather, in other words, a runoff that looks like that it does it continually when it's wet weather, follow it downhill and you're going to come to that water somewhere, because that water is going to go under the ground. It's going to disappear like this water has done, and then it's going to come back up. Okay, you guys, I hope you've learned something from this video. Please share the video if you like it so that it'll help my channel out. And until next time, may the good Lord bless you. So long for now.